A fully 3D racing game on the Super Nintendo? Why, how is that possible? Is this witchcraft or some type of sorcery? Well, it's all due to the Super FX chip. What is it? Where does it come from? Where do these chips grow? Who makes these delicious chips? I don't know. I don't know the technical aspects. I came here to review, not to read. This game is something to look at in awe, not because it's that great of a game, just because it's a fully 3D game with a lot of different racetracks. Now, the Super Nintendo is not made for 3D games, and this becomes very evident once you start playing. This game basically runs exactly how you'd expect a 3D game to run on the Super Nintendo, a 16-bit console. Now, there's a few different game modes, like a 2-player versus mode and a stunt course, which is not a course where you perform stunts, but rather a stunt course that you drive around and try to collect various things in a given amount of time. Of course, the bread and butter of the game is the racing, and the racing takes place in these fully 3D racetracks, which are all pretty unique and have their own scenery, as you would expect from a good racing game. There's just a lot of really great variety in this racing game, and the music isn't bad either. The other problems with this game are all related to the fact that this game has frame rate and slowdown issues. Like, the controls are greatly affected by the slowdown issues. It's hard to control your cars. If the racetrack doesn't have too many sharp turns, the game can be bearable. But the second you get into the harder levels of the game, where the competition is stiffer and where the turns are a lot sharper, this game just becomes a test of patience. You have a few things to help you with the iffy controls, like the side buttons help you make sharp turns, and there's also a speed boost you can use to get a nice speed going for yourself if you're lagging behind. The problem is, when you use the speed boost, your car can't handle very well while it's speeding really fast. So I don't recommend to use this at all unless you know there's a nice long clearing, and there's just not a lot of those in the game. There's always going to be sharp turns or just turns in general. Apart from the game's problems, it's still not a bad game at all. I'm just incredibly impressed they could fit all these 3D levels in one Super Nintendo game. Ultimately, this is not a racing game to play for hours and hours of enjoyment. This is a racing game to play and just be amazed at, because it really pushed the Super Nintendo to the limit. This game is like fancy food in a 5-star restaurant that doesn't really taste that good, but you know it's really rare and the chefs spend a lot of time on it, and it's impressive because of that. It gets an official stanburdman rating of a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, my friends.